Good evening and welcome to our Testimonial Tuesday for Tuesday, April 12th of 2016. We're excited that you're here. My name is Vicki Drobness and I'm a Ruby Ambassador. He's also a Diamond in Qualification with Plexus Worldwide. And I am thrilled to have my friend Deb Garretson all the way from Kansas who agreed to come and chat with us about some, you've heard some of us talk about this training that we went through with Sonia Dudley back in March. Gosh, it's been over a month now, and how much we got out of it. And it applies so much more to just Plexus. It applies to living your daily life and work with your family and your community. So I've asked several of the ambassadors who were there to give their takes on it, because everybody picks up on something else, something different that spoke to them. So Deb's going to share that with us in a moment. So I'm going to go ahead and share our screen here. And then, where's my button here? Share screen. There we go. And go ahead and put the disclosure up on a little PowerPoint here. Make sure we're compliant. All right. So this presentation is brought to you by independent Plexus ambassadors and is not sponsored by Plexus Worldwide. The independent Plexus ambassadors and Plexus Worldwide do not claim to cure, treat, or prevent any disease and take no responsibility for personal actions taken by any viewer. Plexus makes no guarantees or projections of income, as such representations may be misleading. Your success depends on your efforts, commitment, skill, and leadership abilities, and how effectively you exercise those qualities. All inspirational testimonies and tips should not be considered medical or financial advice and are not representative of Plexus Worldwide. They are tips, inspiration, and motivation based solely on the personal results or opinions of the participants. So, as you are listening to Deb, think about what she's sharing with you. Who do you know that needs to hear that information? And it doesn't have to be with just about Plexus. It may just be maybe one of your teenage kids needs to hear some positive ways of approaching problems. There's so much that this can apply to, but it does apply to Plexus as well. So I want to go ahead and turn it over to Deb. So just tell me about it Tuesday. So I'm going to unmute Deb. Is she there? There you are.
Hey.
Hi. Welcome.
Thank you, Vicki. So
All
great
right.
to be here with you.
Yes, I know the magic of technology. It's so wonderful.
It is wonderful.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you. I'm going to mute myself so that you have the floor. Share from your heart. Share what's important to you. And I can't wait. I got my notes all ready to start taking.
Very good. Well, Vicki is so kind to have me on tonight, and I just feel like I'm really super honored because she has a great story of her own, and she has great intention and great integrity, and those are the things that I really wanted to talk about this evening. The training with Sonia was really amazing. This is the Sonia Dudley training that we did in Edmond, Oklahoma about a month ago, and they just kind of helped me to solidify a lot of the things that I had been preaching for or struggling with, and just being intentional about sharing or, life in general. And she talked about how when we're children, we just thought we could do anything. And somewhere along the line, we lost that. And we just sort of accepted others' expectations of us. And what we really need to do is go back and figure out why and what's stopping us. What's stopping us from doing the things that we are made to do and the path that God has for us. So those are just a couple of the takeaways that I had, and just kind of weave that in here somehow. But basically, when Vicki talked about ranking up and about maybe sharing some of my story with that, the Sonia training worked in with that obviously quite beautifully. And I just wanted to let you know my word of the year is intention. So it's something that I'm really digging into. It's to have a goal. You can choose to live either of two ways, either intentionally or unintentionally, where you're just letting things happen to you. And I guess a lot of us really do live unintentionally. We just sort of float along from day to day, and we don't really think about why we're making the choices we are, We don't think about what our goals are. And I would say, I don't have a percentage, but I would say the majority of people are that way that I run into. And they're great people, but to not have a goal about where you're going with your life and with your relationships and your faith it's not really living to me. So those are the things that I really, those speak to my heart anyway. So, and then I thought, well, what does it mean to live intentionally then? How do you get a goal? How do you come to the conclusion you're headed in the right direction? And so it just, you can draw from so many sources. And our team is full of amazing resources, people I'm talking about, and so many people that are inspiring. And I just love being in Plexus because I have met so many amazing people, and their stories make me cry, and I just get excited about where they have come. So that's been huge for me, and I didn't expect that coming into Plexus. I looked at the business and I looked at the opportunity. I knew I was exhausted. I'm a mom of 6. I'm a homeschool mom. And honestly, I felt pretty blue a lot of the time. And I don't really have a reason to be because I have so many blessings. But I had gone through some life changes, and hormones play into all this. And I was looking for help. I really didn't expect to find it with Plexus, it's to the extent that I have. But it has turned out to be financially exceeding my expectations, and I can cope again. And for me not to share that with somebody would be really selfish. And my husband's had a great difference with it too in different ways. And so that's part of being intentional for me, is realizing there are a lot of other people that feel this way. And they are looking for help, and they might find it in medication. And, you know, we all know that that may have some side effects that they just don't want. And for us to be able to have something that is natural and to be able to it fits in beautifully with our lives, I need to share. So I have to be intentional about that. So how do I go about that? As Christians, you know, we want to live boldly and intentionally, and that should spill out into all the areas of our lives. So, you know, why would we do something halfway? We have to be clear about our goals and to make them simple and doable so that they actually get done. So I don't want to waste the opportunity that He gave me. God gave this to me, and I don't want to be like a wave that's blown and tossed in the wind. Well, I think I'll share today. Oh gosh, I don't think that went very well. You know, I might just pull back a little bit. It's, you know, that's not fair, and that's not living the way that I think that He designed me to live. So we have to have goals that are in focus. I want to be able to help people to get out of financial distress. I want them to have better health, and those are worthy goals. And so to get to those, you know, I need to figure out, what does my day look like? My team and I are going through a book, The Miracle Morning, and we're just getting started with that. And it's been a real eye-opener. Even spending the first, you know, half hour, or even 5 minutes, just getting your day into focus is, it makes a difference for the whole day. So here's day 1. I'm really excited to see what happens after this. So just being intentional about from the beginning of the day to the end, and to be able to be a little bit more in control of what's going on. You know, yes, we'll have surprises. Yes, you know, kids have questions and they need help with things throughout the day, but I can have more of a framework that's sturdy and grounded when I get off to a good start. And that includes reading the Word, getting some exercises, and just not even turning on Facebook unless I have something specific that I'm going to accomplish there. Until, you know, I'm not going to scroll. I'm not going to start out the day that way. I've done that before, and it doesn't get me anywhere. So lots of just specific things that I can do just to start the day out. And the training that Sonia talked about, I think what hit me most was that the brain has pathways that are actually chemical, and when we think a certain way, then our brain starts to revisit those paths. And when we think that we can do something, then we're going to find a way to make that happen. And when we think we can't do something, then, you know, that's the way our brain's going to go, and so goes our life. And so when we are able to really tie into that and to just keep the affirmations going, keep Thanksgiving up, you know, just throughout the year, and to be able to refocus toward a goal and to be people who can, not the can't people. You know, I can't, I said that word. I can't stress that enough, though, that has been huge. And to be able to be overcomers. To be a lifelong learner is also one of my goals. And the sidelines that I have, my team I'm learning from all the time. I have a great team. And of course, our uplines are an amazing bunch of people. And I feel like I've just gleaned so much from all of them. And so for me to actually say that any of this is my idea, it's, you know, it's not. It's just a compilation of what I've accumulated from other people. The integrity that we need to have in our business is huge. I have been around long enough to know that there will be these situations that come up that will be really uncomfortable, or that, you know, just don't seem fair sometimes. And that's going to happen to everybody. And that's the way it is in life too. So why should it be different with our Plexus business? And I think that, you know, there are some guards that we can put up. There are some ways that we can try to ensure that those things don't happen, that, you know, somebody doesn't try to come on board and sort of take over your team, or to take team members from you. And, you know, that does happen sometimes. And just to take the high road, though, and to have some grace about it, because nobody's going to win if there's a fight. And I think we have, again, so many great examples of how to handle situations like that. But just having the integrity, and when we're also looking around us and people are ranking up, and that can be really discouraging. My journey has been a little slow, to be honest with you, but it's been what I have needed it to be. And I see that looking back. That has been a gift, actually. I've learned tons of things that I wouldn't have known if I had just skyrocketed up like some people have. But it's important also to be happy for other people during that time of waiting. And I found that whenever I'm feeling a little bit unhappy with my progress, I have been able to just reach out and encourage somebody else. And that does so much for me. And it starts to make me happy for people around me. And it also helps me to see, you know, where I want to be going, and just to be able to stay true to that vision. So lots of lessons there in the longer journey. And we just need to guard against discouragement. It's just going to hurt us and others. And the more I think that we practice that, the easier it becomes. It's more like breathing. And so again, just back to those pathways and those habits that we learn and that we take on. So again, just want to stay true to our vision, and to not be tossed around, and not to be to have a skewed vision. There are plenty of people out there who either don't like network marketers, or they, you know, just don't trust it for some reason, or they maybe just have a skewed vision and they don't quite understand it, and that's okay. They might not even want you to succeed, which seems kind of crazy, but there are friends out there who, or maybe not so good friends, but there are people who don't want others to succeed because they're unhappy. And so there will be times when you might feel attacked or questioned, and that's going to come back to your integrity, because it's going to feel like you're being attacked personally. But usually it's really not a personal attack. It's just somebody does not understand, or they're just unhappy and they don't know how to be any different. And so you got to try to bless them and move on, and stay on your path, and don't let that deter you. I saw a great post this morning. There was a picture of a lion, and he was all majestic, and he said that the saying on it was that a lion doesn't turn around when the small dog barks. Have you seen that African proverb? And I thought that was just so neat because, you know, if there's something little that's just bugging you and nagging on you, or, you know, somebody says something that's not quite right, you just don't turn around, just keep focusing, keep going forward, because God has you on your own journey, and you'll be able to help people so much by the journey that you're on, and just to stay with it, to stay intentional, to have integrity, and just grow your belief little by little if you have to, and to stay strong in that. I think that the last thing I wanted to leave you with is that I felt like it's important to say that being authentic is crucial. People can sense when you're not being authentic, and it's easy to want to take on somebody else's voice, I think, because there are so many great examples of powerful speakers and of just people that have enormous vision, and you can't just jump into their shoes, but you can take a little bit of it away. But I have felt more confident in creating, you know, just finding my own voice and sharing that with others. And really, you know, because that's how God made me. You know, I have my own issues to get through, and I have roadblocks of my own, but to be able to just, you know, accept them and to realize that I am who I am, and however, you know, for good or for worse, this is how God made me, and I have been able to just grow personally in relationships and in my faith. This has made me stronger being a part of Plexus, and I'm really looking forward to what's ahead. I can't wait to see what he's got for me.
Oh, my mute button wouldn't come off. Wow, I love all that. I took 4 pages of notes. I love that because you're so right, the intention and integrity, and there's so many places in our world these days where that's not even a consideration. You know, I've worked in corporations where it was, we've got to do what it takes in order to get to a certain place, and it didn't matter what it took. And that makes just a huge difference. And I love that that's your word of the year. That's so cool. There was something else. Oh, the Miracle Morning. I love that. I love that. Do you have the one, the Miracle Morning for Network Marketers?
Yes.
Yeah. That one I like so much because it's geared toward our profession. Mm-hmm. And since you mentioned something about the profession and profession of network marketers and what it made me think of, there are always going to be people in any profession who sully the name of that profession. I mean, we know that there are bad teachers. We know that there are bad lawyers, bad car salesmen, bad judges. Any place, there is going to be somebody who is going to make it so that you don't trust them. And, you know, we've heard all the different jokes about different careers and, you know, the different negatives. I don't even want to go there and say them, but we've all heard those. And unfortunately, it only takes 1 or 2 people to have a bad experience to give that as kind of a general, oh, then if it's 1 or 2 people, then it's got to be everybody is like that. But I love that Plexus has chosen to do it differently, is that they make it possible for the people just getting started to be able to earn an income. And granted, you're not going to go from day 1 to diamond in a week. I don't think anybody's done that yet. But so you're not going to do that. You can do it in about 6 months. It has been done. But for most of us, it's going to take longer. And I'm like you. At first, I was really, you know, I wanted to get there right to the top. And then I realized, and Charlotte told us this last year, is it's about the personal growth that you have to go through. And I didn't realize how much I needed to go through. And sometimes it feels stubborn. You know, I feel like I need to be over here. But the journey has been wonderful. The friendships like with you that I've made, that I wouldn't have made anywhere else. And had I grown fast, I wouldn't have had the chance to get to know the people that we've done through our sidelines. Because for those of you watching, Deb and I are, because you're under Charlotte, right? Okay. So Deb and I are both under the same friend and sponsor, Charlotte Seams, but our teams are not commingled or anything like that, but we help each other. And that's been the beauty of Plexus. It's not about her team doing better, my team doing better. We all do better when we help each other. Great example for us as a country, as a world, is when we work together, we do better. I like that you said about being a can person. It reminded me of back 1 year for Lent, and I'm talking about like probably 15, 20 years ago for Lent. I gave up saying anything that had not in it. Like, cannot, can't, won't, just took that off. And I found other ways to say something. So if I said, I can't be there, I would change it to, I'm unable to be there. Or I had a prior commitment. Because it still conveyed the same message, but it wasn't the can't, won't, don't, shouldn't, couldn't, all those. And so I would find different ways. And it's a good way to increase your vocabulary. But it also showed my children is we're not going to say, well, I can't do that. Let's find a way that you can. Or if there's truly a reason why you're unable to do that, let's work on finding a way to either accomplish it or work around it to where we can still reach the same goal. And I've been thinking about that. I know Lent's already passed, but thinking that might be a good thing to do, just to take that out of your vocabulary.
Or even saying, I choose not to do that.
Yes. And one of the biggest things, and I think Sonia said something about this, is whenever you say, I can't afford this. Now, number one, you can change it to, how can I afford this? Because you may not have the money in your account right now, but you could have it later. Or I choose to spend my money on something else. And I do that with shopping. I'll go in and I have to really decide what it is that I want to buy, because I used to be where, I had the extra money, I was going to spend it. And I find that's been a tremendous amount of personal growth, is that I don't have to go get something just because I've got money. I keep it aside. So that was something that was surprising. And of course, some of it was also spent on things like candy bars and things that weren't good for me. And now that I don't want those things, then hey, it's okay. So, but choosing to do it frugally, and there's nothing wrong with being frugal, and choosing where you want to put your money, choosing where you want to put your attention, choosing that. Okay, I'm not going to stay watching TV all night. I'm going to choose to read a book. I'm going to choose to go spend time with my family. I'm going to choose to watch videos that are going to help me in my business. So, what are some of the things that you found that have been best for being intentional in your business, or that you've coached your team to do?
Well, I like Sarah Marble's DMO. She has specific, take 5 minutes to do a post, and make it a sharing post. Don't make it a salesy post. Contact a certain number of people a day, and learn something new every day about the products and about the business. And so I think that it doesn't have to be long, it doesn't have to be difficult, but just being specific in the time that you're given, and the time that you care about, and passing that along to your team, and then being open to the suggestions that they have too, because they have great information and great questions. And so I love plugging into the people that are on my immediate team too. Yeah. And I think just whatever you fertilize is going to grow.
Exactly.
It's like a house plant, if you choose to water it and put it inside and fertilize that, and it's going to flourish. But, it's the reverse. The reverse is true too. So it's when you fertilize and water your thoughts in a certain way in your actions, then again you're creating those paths, and you are making sure that those are the things that are going to flourish, and you nourish those too. So,
yeah. That's so true, and that knowing that everybody, like you mentioned, on your team, it doesn't matter what level they are. I think Charlotte mentioned on our some video last week that she had done. It may have been like a Zoom with the team about how she's still learning. I think that was the one that she and Brenda did the Spark call. Is that she's still learning. We don't have all of the answers, and I get some of my best ideas from my team. And sometimes if I'm feeling discouraged, they are the ones that get me excited again because they're excited. And that's just a wonderful feeling to do that, and encouraging them and recognizing them. People will do so much for recognition because we don't have that anymore. We're tied to these things, and these are very helpful. I wouldn't be able to do my business as well as without it. But to really connect and talk with people, that just makes so much of a difference.
And that's what makes it fun.
Yes, it is. It is. It's like because these devices have given us this time to be able to focus on being with people. And the thing I love about Plexus and network marketing in general is that we have these devices who can help us connect with people that maybe we've lost touch with, but we also are doing this in person, and it gives us the freedom and flexibility to be able to, like we said, with your kids, you have some time more with your kids. I have a brand new grandbaby who was born on Saturday. Deb knows I've already showed pictures. And if you're on my Facebook page, just it's a fair warning, you're going to be inundated by cute grandson pictures. But I had the ability to go and be there while she was in labor. I didn't have to go work at a job. I didn't have to take off. And I took my phone with me. I answered questions along the way, but I was also present for them and being able to help them. And just having that flexibility. Gosh, guys, to not be tied to a desk, 9 to 5 is tremendous to be able to do that and to be creative. Creativity is something that's not encouraged that much in a corporate environment. So, yeah. So, and that's a beautiful thing I do love about homeschooling is that you can be creative. You don't, as a former teacher, you don't have to be tied to a particular set of things that you're trying to accomplish. You're doing it at the pace that person needs. And homeschooling is almost a great comparison to network marketing in the fact that you're meeting that person's needs where they are and not trying to rush them through as if they are a cog in the system.
That's interesting. And I'm getting to learn so much more than I did this time around. So
yeah, because we did that. I learned so much more whenever I was teaching. I used to teach American literature, and there were some things that I did. There were some things I wasn't prepared to understand. Books that I thought that were, oh gosh, this is such a boring book. And now that you read it when you've had a little bit of life experience, it has a much deeper meaning, and you're like, aha, now I know why he wrote it. But that's to be able to work, because we've got people on our team that have had the slower journeys, and it's not wrong. It's what they needed. And they may have other obligations, or they just may need to take it a little slower. And that's cool. And where else are you going to spend 4 to 5 years and have the potential to get as far as you can, other than with network marketing? And have the financial freedom.
definitely.
Deb, thank you so much. Any last parting words, any last bit of advice that you would like to share?
No, just thanks for being an inspiration yourself and for being just a great teacher for our team. I just really appreciate what you're doing, Vicki, and you're just doing an amazing job, and I can't wait to encourage you up to Emerald. Can't be very long.
Now, I am definitely still working towards that, and I do have my goal, and like you said, my goal is to have it done by July this year so I can go to Hawaii this year. And but I understand that was my goal last year, and I wasn't ready for it then. But I feel more ready for it, but I know that the timing will happen the way it's supposed to, and I want to clarify that with some people, because I know some people have tendencies to say, okay, well, it'll happen in God's timing or whenever's timing, and that can be an excuse for not doing work. And I have let it do that to me before. And I have to be intentional, like you said. I have to be intentional about it and do what I need to do so that I don't let it become that. But understanding that, if for some reason it doesn't come this year, then that's okay. I just extend it out. And that just means I don't go to Hawaii this year. It doesn't mean I don't get the Lexus and the nice pay raise. But that's okay. It is what it is, but I do what I can do and that I trust that the seeds that I'm planting will harvest when they need to. And that's what a farmer does. That's what, you don't expect a child to go from being born to walking within a few days. That it takes time to develop muscles and coordination and to get your feel for the world. And that's kind of, a good explanation of what we do with network marketing, is it can take time.
Like Sonia said, you don't start out the first day knowing how to ride the bicycle.
Exactly.
Are you a failure then? No, you just keep trying.
That's right. And to not be afraid of failure. And I think I remember hearing in the school system, failure is not an option. And I understand that from the standpoint of you don't give up on somebody. But it kind of makes it seem that failure is this horrible thing. And no, it's not fun. I'm not going to pretend that, I failed, yay. That's not it. It's that we all have to, none of us learned how to walk without falling down. And I mean, imagine if a baby decides after, 3 or 4 times trying to get up and they just say, I'm sorry, I'm just going to sit here the rest of my life. You can carry me around. They're not going to do that. And animals don't do that either. We can learn so much from, like you said, the children who, whenever we were children, we felt like we could do anything. If we wanted to be Wonder Woman, we could do that. If we wanted to fly, we could be actors or actresses and astronauts. We could do anything we wanted to. And something happened along the way, I don't know what, to where we felt like we had to fit in somehow. And so this is kind of like discovering that childhood again of dreaming and dreaming big. I tell my team always, dream big. It may seem totally impossible. What was it that Fallon would say, I have the fastest growing team in all of Plexus, and just say that. And she said the first few times she said it didn't sound right because she wasn't. But she went from this time last year, at convention she was gold, to where she just turned diamond this past month, back in March. And by gold, even then she wasn't, I think she may have been technically a gold at that point, but her points had dropped. And if you want to know about how all our ranks handle that, talk with the ambassador who told you to watch this. We'll be happy to explain it. But that feeling of just believing in it, and as they say, draw the line in the sand, just saying, this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to make it happen. And trusting that God is going to help you with that, too. And that He wants the best for you, too. He's not holding you back because He doesn't think you can do it. Anyway, thank you, Deb. I love this. So many chunks of wisdom in this. I cannot wait to share it.
Appreciate it, Vicki.
All right. So I'm going to say good night to everyone. Thank you for joining us. If you are interested in learning more about Plexus, talk with the ambassador who invited you to watch. And if you came across this somehow and you don't have an ambassador, Deborah, I'll be happy to be your ambassador. So thank you so much. Good night, and go Plexus.